Here we are, part 2 of Dan's flip, but the thing is, I found out we're pivoting a little bit more. We have a BRRRR-BNB. A lot of acronyms here, a lot of letters in there. They stand for something. We're gonna go through all the numbers, what Dan's problems have been, what he learned, and also the successes and how he's pivoting to make sure that this is a successful deal for him and his business partner. Let's go check it out. I think it's still a great location. There's a lot of cool stuff inside that he's made some big improvements on. Really excited for you to see it. Let's go. We're in the backyard of Dan's flip here. Really stoked on it. I mean, look at it. Freshly painted, new siding, all that good stuff. And that's just the exterior. So really excited for it. Dan, what have you learned from this experience so far, man? Like, how is everything going right now?
Man, we could be talking for hours on this stuff. As we talked a little bit earlier, things have changed. We've had to pivot.
No way.
You know, one of the biggest things on this that we came into, a key tip for people is have multiple exit strategies. The market shifted a little bit. We got some different stuff going on. Budget wasn't quite exactly where we thought it was going to be. And these are kind of some of the things that we had to think about before. Luckily, we did plan ahead. And we're able to pivot. So instead of the flip, now we're actually turning it into more of a BRRRR-BNB, as we alluded to in the intro. So luckily, I mean, we wanted to hold this the whole time. But it's not really worth the short amount of cash that we could get quickly now. And it's still risky because things are sitting on the market. Versus having something long-term that we know is going to appreciate. And this little thing next to us here, becoming an ADU at some point, is, you know, it's right in the back of our minds. So.
And that's big too. And this is something that Dan and I were talking about before we hit record, is that, like, if this was dependent on your livelihood, if this was a high desperation transaction that you needed the cash for, you would be so stressed and things would just not pan out as you wanted it to be. So having that exit strategy, having multiple ways to make this work for you and your business partner, is there anything else that you would, I guess in general, would advise people who are just starting to flip, things like that?
Yeah, I guess on that topic too, make sure the property qualifies for short-term rental, you know, because Longmont, for example, has specific laws and rules where you have to be a citizen of Longmont to actually run a short-term rental here. And it also, you cannot have more than one short-term rental on the same block, on the same side of the street, which is pretty unique just to Longmont. You know,
I had no idea.
Every city has different stuff, but luckily I checked ahead of time before we even bought this place to make sure there was not one on this and that I could qualify even with a 50-50 business partner on it. So lots of things, you know, if you have more questions on that, that is why you want to work with someone like us, obviously, but also things to look at before you get into it, because if you did happen to get in this situation and then you look it up and there's an Airbnb 2 houses down, you are really screwed. Like,
100%.
Now you have to sell it probably for a loss, which we probably would right now if we had to put it on market.
So super interesting as far as like the numbers go. And Dan was telling me earlier is that, like, if this comp sells before they're able to refinance, it might change drastically with how much they're might be able to appraise this one for. So there's a lot of variables in there. So having all this information all in one spreadsheet or all in their mind of being like, hey, if this doesn't work, let's pivot and let's go into this now you deem BRRRR-BNB strategy. That's pretty sick. So yeah. As far as like the interior and how things are going right now, so what's the timeline? Are things going according to plan? What's that look like?
Yeah, surprisingly, we've hit our budget almost perfectly. We did shift a little bit once we realized we weren't flipping it, as far as putting a little bit extra materials in. You know, a little higher class stuff to like cater towards a short-term rental and a buy and hold, instead of just flipping it, trying to get the basics in and out. But other than that, yeah, we're on schedule right now. The contractors are in there getting the electrical finalized and pretty much just touching things up. So now I just got to get appliances and then figure out the next step.
Stoked. Well, that being said, we should just take a look at what's going on inside the house, and we'll talk a little bit more about what exactly Dan did. Was there any permits pulled, any big hiccups along the way? So let's go inside the house.
All right, guys, let's have a look. Let's see what we did here. As you can see on this patio, if you remember from part 1, this was all enclosed. So we love the pillars, we love the style of it, kept it kind of the old school feel. So we just opened it up, gave it more air. Also, all new, brand new siding on this area around the entire house, and new electrical coming in for the porch and stuff like that. As you come in here, you can see we got brand new paint, fixed up the ceiling, new drywall, can lights all around to provide good lighting. Pretty much kept the layout similar in here, and same with the bedrooms. But the main thing here is all new windows, double pane windows. We had those really old school weighted windows that you can just feel air blowing through. So now we're sealed in. It's gonna be a lot more efficient. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the bedrooms here. Coming around, the main projects we did were actually the bathrooms. They needed the most remodeling. I don't know if you can see in there, but we got new flooring, new tiles, new toilets, vanities, and the electrical as well in all that area. So
Decided against the washer dryer over there. I think that was a talking point last time.
right. We were considering doing a washer and dryer here, but since, you'll see in a second once we get over there, since we kind of got creative on the way we could make it work more efficiently, and especially since we're keeping this space maybe for storage for short-term rental materials and supplies was mostly on our mind for this area. Nothing crazy over there. The big transformation happened over here in the kitchen, and this was kind of the area where, if you see part 1 of the video, this was all fully closed off right here, and we opened this bad boy up. So now we got lighting, and it just feels like a lot bigger house. Before it felt cramped and small. We added a little bar over there, and obviously new cabinets, granite countertops, the stuff people want to see these days. Also, we're gonna put the fridge over here. If you remember correctly, there was a big old hole in this wall, so new drywall, you can't even tell it was there. It looks like a brand new wall there. Coming into this bedroom, we have new windows as well, paint, same old school trim that we had before. We really like that. And then this bathroom's still a work in progress because we had a little setback here for the heat vent, which was actually covered up by the vanity originally. So luckily I caught that. That's a little key tip there, is make sure you're keeping an eye on stuff, because if I had not caught that, we would have had a heat vent fully blocked in and covered by the vanity. Not cool. But luckily they're on top of it. They weren't super upset about having to redo it, so that should look good. And then if you remember the big cast iron tub that was here, now we have a wide open, big open space shower. Way more functional, a lot more space. Toilet's moved over here where it was over there before. And it looks modern, but still has that high ceiling, kind of old style vibes to it. And lastly is the laundry room that we originally were kind of gonna take that space out and not use it. But since we considered keeping that space open, we completely changed this up and refinished it. So we added actually 4 inches on each side, just covering up the old stuff that was in here. There was like old siding, it kind of looked like it was outside still, and then the new windows and drywall all around. So we'll have a stackable washer and dryer there, and it's kind of a little utility room, and then down to the dungeon.
Okay, Dan, what is next on what you got to improve for the flip? Is there any big projects that you still have to do with it, or is it mostly done?
Mostly done right now.
Yeah.
The biggest project we had was rewiring the entire house to electrical. That was the biggest project. We took a permit to get that. Other than that, we're smooth sailing right now.
Yeah, the roof is fine. You didn't have to deal with any of that, so that's fine. Appliances you still need to get as well, yeah?
The main thing now is getting ready for that Airbnb side.
Okay.
So appliances and stuff like that, just the big ticket items and the little things that we didn't think about, like curtains, towel racks, things that we need to add that we weren't gonna probably add before. So.
Yeah. This is your first Airbnb.
Correct.
So with this being your first Airbnb, there's a lot of questions you have, and I'm here for you as far as like the numbers and the analysis, or at least what to get. But as far as like decorating and aesthetics, I feel like that's not my strong suit. So is there anything that you were thinking of as far as like hiring a consultant or a designer on the property?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So obviously, like I help people out getting set up with Airbnb. So
Yeah.
as far as analyzing the numbers and running numbers, I can do that. But I've never personally operated or ran a short-term rental myself. So definitely gonna reach out to some of my contacts and property managers that I work with. Shout out to Andrew Street. We'll be talking to him for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna rely on other people that know exactly what they're doing, because I do not want to mess up this first one. And I know it has to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, as far as me and my experience with Airbnb, what you put into it is what you get out of it. You get shit in, shit out, right? So if you're putting things at a higher tier, people see that, you get excellent listing photos, you make everything as best as possible, people will see that and they will respond in the form of bookings and paying more per night.
Exactly.
So as far as like the kitchen itself, I know there's like a blank canvas for that place. I mean, is there like theme that you're thinking of? Or is there any sort of, I don't know, something that you're envisioning at the moment, or are you just trying to outsource that as well?
To be honest, probably outsourcing it.
Yeah.
But if there was a theme that I could pick, obviously we are in a historic district. This is a 1910 house. I know there are Airbnbs around this that specifically have historic pictures around, things that have happened back in the day in Longmont. This was a mining town. So there is the option to do that, but also not my forte, as we talked about. So I guess we'll see what other people's opinions are on that. But it's important, like you said. You need to think, and you have to be different from everybody else, and I'm well aware of that.
Cool.
So.
As far as like the numbers behind it all, so you and your business partner are completely fine with holding onto this property, You're no longer getting rid of it as soon as possible, especially with the heat of the Denver market. Although what I'm seeing is that like things are staying on the market longer, the inventory is increasing. People are putting in offers a little bit lower than the offer price, or sorry, the list price. At least that's what I'm seeing. So I think this might be a blessing in disguise with having you pivot.
That's why we were grateful that we had this option.
Yeah.
If we were to list this right now, we would guaranteed lose money. Just based on the budget that we had put in, we're a little bit over. And then now we're gonna be putting more money in for the short-term rental.
Yeah.
But we had that money aside, like the oh shit money. We had that ready to go just in case something happened like this. And yeah, it's gonna cause us not to lose money.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna have money stuck in the house, but that's fine right now. This is a long-term play, bigger picture thing, so. Yeah.
No, that's good. As far as, I mean, you had the reserves. Now you don't have to like brace for impact on that sale. Now it's just a more ease of a, I don't know. With the buy and hold strategy, it's hard not to lose the longer you hold on to the property.
Yeah.
Right? Especially in a place like this is great real estate and great location. I mean, you're looking at Main Street, 3 minutes away. Some of my favorite donut shops. I was just at Line Donuts right there. I love that place. Sugar and caffeine free. So nonetheless, buy and hold is going to be working out for you guys. Is there any projects in the future that you're looking at? I mean, how do you brace for that next property if you were to rinse and repeat?
There's a lot of things I'm thinking about, especially now that I know all the moving pieces that go into this. I had a good idea before, but when you're actually in here, you're seeing it, you're feeling the stress, losing a little bit of sleep. I'm thinking about different exit strategies as well going forward. This one here, we got lucky. It's a 2-bed, 2-bath. I would personally never buy a 2-bed, 2-bath as a buy and hold. You know, as a quick flip, I knew this was a great area. People would want to buy this, but I want to buy something that I know is right in the middle, maybe a 3-bed, 2-bath with room to add 4 so I can house hack it, or I can, you know, use different strategies.
Yeah.
This one, we're limited on strategies. Otherwise, I would have did rent by the room here, but we'd only be getting maybe $1,800 a month. So just thinking ahead of like, if stuff does change again like this, you know, I want to have even more options and more ways that we can buy and hold it.
Yeah, I mean, even then, a 2-bed, 2-bath is not bad. I mean, 2-bed, 1-bath is okay, but the fact that if you were to have 2 different people living under the same roof and they got their own bathrooms, I feel like that's way more advantageous than, let's say, sharing a bathroom. And plus, if they have guests over, they have to share that bathroom as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Never one bathroom.
Never one bathroom.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, this is kind of the biggest piece of why we wanted to keep this. If we didn't have this large lot and this potential over here, this would have been kind of a guarantee. We don't have any other options long term. But with the space here and the new zoning and ADU laws that we have all over Colorado, this is guaranteed going to be a perfect ADU situation. We already have a neighbor with one that's been there for a long time. These neighbors have one, other neighbors down the road, and I've already talked to the city, and we 100% qualify based on the size of our lot. So long term, key is to stabilize this house, get some money coming in, start making up for the expenses we had originally, and then get started on ADU back here. Gonna be perfect.
Okay, last thing I wanted to point out is this is so far in general a pretty big success. So seeing this and making sure that you got the confidence in going to the next one, what does that look like? Are you looking for more properties?
Definitely, yeah. Lots of learning lessons on this one. Nothing terrible. You know, we're not losing our skin on this one. So it is keeping me going. I'm definitely gonna be more cautious about certain things, some of the things that we covered. But you know, the key is I'm building up more contacts as far as finding off-market deals. I get sent off-market deals all day. I was just telling you about one a second ago. But you know, the key is now I can tell even better. Like I have a good idea. I can read markets. I can analyze. You know, I can find Airbnbs pretty quickly. But now I have an even more, I guess, keen eye on certain things that I will and will not do. So.
Yeah. And then knowing the paint that you have now, the contractors you have now, I assume you're just going to copy paste them for the next one.
Yes, exactly. Michael, my business partner, and I were talking last night, and the biggest hurdle for me was I constantly had to make decisions on all this different stuff that I was already stressed, tired, and overwhelmed. Whereas if we just have a template, like this is the cabinets we use, this is the paint colors we use, it's rinse and repeat, and it takes a lot more pressure off of my mind and the decisions that I have to make. So yeah, I mean, going forward, I guess it will change depending on area, you know, style that we want to go for, but in general, as long as people are still buying these things and it's still popular, you know, you can go around and view the houses. Yeah, we're gonna try and simplify the process.
Yeah, and I'm sure like with each home, with each property, each of them have their own exit strategies that might be customized depending on what it's zoned for and all that good stuff. I mean, ADU potential, Airbnb potential, all that good stuff. So that being said, dude, Dan, this is looking excellent, man. Really stoked for you on this. Feel like it's a big win, especially being your first flip. Well, flip, like you're making things work, especially with the intention of the flip. And now that you've gotten all this rehab, you can now reap the benefits of the long-term buy and hold. So I'm sure you and your business partner are able to make this work in the long term, and you guys should be happy, in my opinion.
Key piece of advice, expect the unexpected. Like we said before, if you need this to pay your bills, do not do it. Things will happen, whether it's a big thing or a little thing. Something is gonna come up that you did not plan. It's just guaranteed in real estate. Whether it's the market or the actual project itself, something is gonna be different than you expect. So just be prepared, do as much as you can beforehand to analyze the deal, make sure it's, basically checking out, and then add a big cushion on top of that, just in case.
Which they did, and luckily they didn't have to go through all those reserves either. So, dude, thanks again, Dan. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for coming up.
Till next time, guys. I'll see you next week.